Hey, Luke, do you remember that you said about that amazing coffee that you had in Kenya?
Yeah, I remember. I tried it when I was visiting Mathare in Nairobi. It was pan-roasted by some descendants of the nomadic Burji tribe who I met there.
It reminds me that you said about connecting community through the existing global supply chain.
Yeah. And it reminds me of something that you're interested in, tracing trading and finding narrations from the global supply chain.
Shall we follow the supply chain for real?
We can make a journey from the Netherlands to Kenya, following the coffee supply chain.
And between, we can make a broadcast out of it.
Supply Chain Broadcast, Season 1, Coffee.
So what are we gonna do?
We can ask some questions as we travel along, talk to some experts, workers, and people we meet, and try and understand their unique perspectives.
We can look at the factors that goes into the shaping the structure of today's global supply chain.
Yeah, that's good. But why are we doing this?
Well, trading was the start of migration, mixed culture, globalization, and the concept of foreign. But today it feels like the simple exchange of value through goods has become extremely complex. And now very little of the world is left untouched by global supply chain, which means everyone is involved. I mean, almost.
The news, academics, and friends have all been telling us this. Let's look closer, one by one, and check what's really going on. But who are we?
We're two designers based in Amsterdam from United Kingdom and South Korea who habitually having caffeine, tea and coffee or both. So that's how Supply Chain Broadcast started. The season 1, coffee.
Before we leave for Kenya, we should check in with some people in the local coffee scene here in Amsterdam. Maybe let's go meet some baristas and cafe owners to hear what they think about the supply chain.
So shall we ask questions to them?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We can ask same questions to everyone who we meet along the supply chain.
That way we can compare and really understand what's going on. What sort of questions do you want to ask?
I'm interested in how working rhythm related to timescales, for example, daily, seasonal, and timescale of the body. So, first thinking about working and rest divide in the daily schedule, we could ask, how much time do you have for breaks? What do you do in this time? Then on the seasonal scale, it would be interesting to know how the seasons actually affects their work. Coffee is an agriculture product that follows natural cycle after all. Lastly, I would wonder about body energy. So how do they adjust your energy level to the working rhythm? I wonder if caffeine is useful there. What do you think?
I really like those questions.
And what would you like to ask to them?
Well, I'm interested in opportunities for creating a community along the global supply chain. So I guess we could start with the working environments of each group. What does the workspace do for community? And how does it encourage people to work together or get along? Maybe that would be, what do you chat about between your colleagues? To try and understand the larger community on a different scale, we could ask, do you feel a connection to the rest of the supply chain? Lastly, it would be good to use this as an opportunity to create those connections, or at least attempt it. So, how about, what would you say to another member of the supply chain?
Nice, we can also figure out what is missing in between.
Maybe we need one last question to round it off.
What about, when do you feel fulfillment in your work? So that we can figure out how does the work relate to their own life purpose or their own satisfaction?
Okay, let's choose some cafes to visit in Amsterdam. I think first maybe we should visit Daymade. It's a small independent art shop and cafe. It's pretty close to the studio.
And then what about monks? They are involved in roasting process. And then what about visiting Starch next to Monks, which is a large chain spread in Amsterdam. They supply to-go food and they also serve coffee.
Nice. Okay, in contrast to that, how about Boca? They already have an entire supply chain which actually goes to South America and also Africa, and they're very much aware of every stage of the process.
And similar as Boca, there's Good Beans, which is fairly new. They set up an ethical supply chain from Rwanda to Netherlands.
Great, well, let's get going.
Oh yeah. How much time do you have for breaks? What do you do in this time?
The baristas had between 15 and 30 minutes.
Grab some food, read something, read a blog about coffee, something with coffee always, because I'm here anyway, so why not?
15 minutes to half an hour, and we just eat and read a little, I guess.
But owners barely have a break. Narasia and Patrick, who's the owner of Daymade and Monks, were saying they just have to follow the flow of the shop.
This is my business. I'm the owner and I have no scheduled break.
Well, I'm here all the time. I'm here for the full day because it's my shop. Because of the flow of how a shop works, it's not continuously busy.
And Francine from Good Beans even said that being at the cafe didn't feel like work at all.
Yeah, it might sound strange, but being here actually feels like having a big break.
How do the seasons affect your work?
People prefer iced coffee or warm coffee, that's the only difference.
Soon as October starts, that's when it becomes really cool in here. Until March.
I was interested in how coffee crop influenced the seasons in cafe.
Summer can be a little bit tough. Autumn and winter, and then early spring are really good times for us here. It's cozier inside.
So it's really more about the temperature of the weather and the drinks, how they influence to the body.
When we do get to Kenya, we should definitely see how the growing season syncs up with the season of the cafe.
Yeah. Kiki from Starch were mentioning.
Season affects like the products we have in the store.
The seasons are not a major factor. Coffee is supplied year-round and can be sold year-round.
When do you feel fulfillment in your work?
Both Saad and Narasia mentioned
When I can extract the best flavors out of a coffee bean.
When people really enjoy an espresso, then I'm very fulfilled.
They feel fulfillment from their craft. Also, Patrick were mentioning about
When customers ask questions about the coffees that we supply or serve here, that we can say to them, this is where it came from, this is how it was produced. That gives us fulfillment.
contrast to that, Kiki was working in Starch as a part-time job, and she feel more fulfillment as an engineering student.
And then the last insight from Francine was interesting about the power of coffee to bring people together.
I mean, having all this is also a starting point for a conversation. The cup of coffee is like a container of this joy exchange.
How do you adjust your energy level to the working rhythm?
It feels like we had as many answers as we had people to talk to. Patrick was talking about the natural rhythm of the day and flowing with it.
You work hard and your energy levels drop, and then you have time to regenerate when it's a little bit quieter. So we kind of adjust with the flow of work.
Francine from Good Beans was needing to calm herself down to be a spacious host.
Here I'm like preparing myself for having a break.
Narasia from Daymade said
That comes from within. I take a coffee to relax. I need my time. Like when it's really busy, I don't want my coffee because I want to take my time to have my moment.
When I heard the answer from Francine, it sounds like she's enjoying the job very well. That can only happen when you're are happy with your work.
What do you chat about between your colleagues?
Mostly they were talking about
What did you do? What are your plans for the weekend?
but one thing that was interesting was they talk a lot about trends like from Narasia
Lately, a lot about vegan options.
or
New products that are coming in, the new coffees are coming in. It's very, very conversational.
A lot of what they were discussing related to changes in the working environments. In Boca, when we spoke with Saad, he mentioned that all the colleagues talk about is the thing that brings them together in their work.
Coffee types, of course. Can you do a rosetta? Can you do a tulip, 4-stack, 5-stack? Can you pour a swan like this? Everybody in the bar is a coffee snob.
Francine mentioned using WhatsApp to stay in contact with colleagues.
do you feel a connection to the rest of the supply chain? Everyone was somehow connected, either is a small scale or the big scale.
Because of the partnership with Juhee, a guy from the head office who comes over and drops the coffee, and then he asked me, if, for example, if we want to do a cupping, you know. So they're very involved.
Like Saad were indirectly connected.
I feel a connection to the rest of the supply chain because our owner travels like every 6 weeks to Ethiopia, Kenya, whatever place. And we have a group chat, so we talk a lot about it. So that's how he makes the connection.
Francine from Good Beans actually delivers the final stage of the supply chain herself, roasted coffee from a nearby roastery to the cafe.
Patrick were mentioning as the owner of cafe, he need to know about the supply chain.
Everyone can if they want to. It's an effort to make sure that you do it.
What would you say to another member of the supply chain? A question, a greeting, a random thought.
We had some interesting suggestions. From Saad,
I would ask the farmer if he has any idea how his coffee is brewed, because it's always a shame if you hear that a coffee farmer exports the coffee and then he doesn't know where it goes. I think it's his product and he should know what it tastes like.
Narasia,
I think it will be cool to do like something like FaceTime with different parts of the chain.
and Francine telling us to go to Starbucks. Let's maybe get to that later on.
Yeah. Patrick has some questions to the people in the rest of supply chain.
Do you enjoy doing what you do? And why do you do what you do? Or how did you get into doing what you do?
Supply Chain Broadcast! Well, that was a very interesting and fruitful journey around Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was nice. We just interrupted in the middle of busy time, so we couldn't make a deep, wide conversation, but it was very nice and intriguing.
Indeed. And a big thank you to everyone who was a part of the interviews.
We'll come back soon.
Where are we going next, Juhee?
Now we're heading to Kenya.
What are we going to do there?
We're gonna meet a coffee auction in Nairobi, and we're gonna meet farmer in Nyeri. Ooh.
Juhee, do you have any parting words of wisdom or any overall insights from those conversations we had?
The general impression that I had is not all of it, but most of people are got into by choice. So they're doing what they like to do.
Yeah, they have some sort of level of passion towards coffee or the hospitality industry.
And also they are care about the supply chain, but there's a limitation to know everything. So they're indirectly related, but not completely related.
Yeah, but there's definitely a desire to know as much as possible.
Definitely, for sure.
And be connected to the people. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Supply Chain Broadcast, Episode 1.
We will continue the journey.
Check back soon. This is Luke signing out.
And Juhee also signing out. Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.